Each breath has a beginning. Each breath has a rising to fullness. And then a decline. The chest and abdomen expand and then contract. And then the breath ends. No delusion there. It has a beginning, so it has an ending. Thoughts think themselves into existence and then vanish. Layer after layer, the subtle tensions come out of the body. They manifest and can be released. The pleasures of the body become clear. The pain in the body becomes clear. The greed, hatred, and delusion of the mind become clear. The effects of these great energies upon our behavior of thought, speech, and body becomes clear. We cultivate and then become accustomed to the ease, the pleasure that comes from non-greed, from generosity. Non-hatred from loving kindness and compassion, and non-delusion, non-ignorance, which comes as awakeness, wakefulness, mindfulness, presence. And we see how they naturally lead us into ease, into connection, into belonging. On the in-breath, please consider a simple mantra. I love you with your name at the end. I love you, including all of the frailties and the times in your life when you've been less than perfect. On the out-breath, perhaps a simple may all beings love themselves, accept themselves as they are. May all humans be free from greed, hatred, and ignorance. And maybe think of some one person who you'd like to enhance your relationship with. On the in-breath, may I be free from fear and danger. On the out-breath, may so-and-so be free from fear and danger. May I live with ease and grace. May this person live with ease and grace. May I be liberated. May they be liberated. On the in-breath, may my life become one great long sigh of gratitude. On the out-breath, may their life become one great long sigh of gratitude. Coming home now to this mysterious living form, receiving it in its most remarkable aliveness. Open to the entirety from the toes to the legs and the pelvis and the torso and the hands and arms, the neck and face and scalp. A cloud of sensations accompanied by mindfulness. And coming now, as we always do in the morning, to the cheeks and the eyes, and to notice the intention to open the eyes, and then operationalizing that, opening the eyes, pulling those eyelids up. Take some work, and then noticing what happens. Seeing. Seeing is, of course, dependent, not a given. easily damaged. Like all the sense doors, it's dependent upon mindfulness, consciousness, an intact eye, visual objects, light. It's a lot of complexity. And if we are graced with seeing, then we have each other in a particular way. We have each other also at the heart. One of the particularities about teaching and participating in retreats that I really like is how wonderfully connected we become without any words, or with very few words, without the stories. So I'll just remind us this morning of Mary Stankiewicz coming this weekend. I just this morning in the shower had what I think of as a brilliant idea. It wasn't mine, it just came. That I'm going to see if Mary will join us tomorrow to do a 3-minute cameo, so you could meet her for a moment. Lovely human being. I'm also having another wild idea. I keep editing it, but on retreats, I have us get up fairly early, not early like Burmese model at 4 o'clock or something like that, but get up and then we dance for half an hour. Please raise your hand if you might like a dance party before the meditation sometime. There's a little bit of interest. All right. I will continue to contemplate. Anything else I should announce, Jim? No.
His mind is very still, sort of blank. Davina has raised her hand.
I don't see Davina. Where is she? Please unmute yourself, my dear.
I am here.
Hi.
Hi. I just raised my hand. Dance party sounds like fun.
Oh, good. Good. All right. So, my dear friends, what of the joys and sorrows of life do you have to share this morning? Or question? Comment?
Hi, Robert. It's Janet.
Hello, Janet.
Hi.
How's life in Eugene this morning?
Oh, Eugene is getting foggy. Yeah. I'm wondering, when is your audiobook coming out?
Well, I don't know. There is someone doing the final listen to it to pick up errors in it, and she's finding a few. And I think within about a week, I will be submitting it to the company that does that, and then it takes what it takes.
Okay. Thank you.
We've sent it to 3 friends, by the way.
The book itself?
Yeah.
Oh, what a kind act.
Yeah, they all are enjoying it. Massachusetts and California and Portland. Yeah.
Great. I haven't checked how many have sold. I should do that. I'm so not on top of that kind of thing. Thanks.
Hey, Robert, it's KB.
Hello, KB.
How are you?
I'm rather good this morning.
Well, you look good, and your hair is perfect. You can tell Jennifer.
Well, I got them cut, all of them too.
I am just wanted to make a brief announcement, um, which I got your permission to do yesterday, and thank you for that. Shemia Fagan is running for Secretary of State in Oregon, and for all of you who care about the environment and climate change, if we do not get her into that office, she's in a linchpin position. And I'm going to be, along with some other environmental activist friends, throwing a house party for her Sunday the 25th at 5 p.m. And I will put my phone number in the chat. You can text me if you're interested. We'd love to have you. And she is such an important person to get elected. I wanted to make the announcement to all of my Dharma friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, KB. I appreciate your being out there on the front lines. Oh dear. Hang on. The chat. There was something. Today's stats on Robert's book from Amazon. Bestseller rank number 883,407 in books. Whoa. Number 4,491 in Buddhism and 8,364 in happiness self-help. Woo-hoo! Blistering sales. Oh dear, that hits my funny bone really well. Well, buy that book, get it up there. Actually, I have taken great delight in people's feedback about it, how it's helping. So we all do our little piece.
Hey, Robert, this is Vic.
Hi, Vic.
Hey. Now once again, I'm kind of moved by your stories about running water, hot water. Okay. This morning again, I was taken back to when I was a little kid in the 70s growing up in India. And we didn't have running water for most of the day.
Right.
And of course, they'd turn on the water probably at about 4 a.m. in the morning, and they would shut it off around 7 a.m. So my mother would turn on the full faucets. It's one of the noisiest faucets in the house the previous night before going to bed. And when the water started first getting turned on, it would make this gurgling noise. And that was an alarm. And she would wake up at around 4 a.m. and first fill up water for drinking in some of these brass pots. And then she would fill up another tank for other water that we would use for the rest of the day. And then the water would get shut off. And we'd kind of go about our day. And it's so interesting now. We don't have to do that. I just have to turn on the faucet. The water just comes out. But growing up, it didn't seem like a hardship. That was just normal. And it just it's interesting how we take certain things for granted, but that becomes the new normal. And but the old normal was fine too. It was just an interesting thought that came to mind. I was just moved back to that time in my life when time trying to think of that as a memory and a thought and not be completely lost in it. So I try to keep coming back to thinking that's a thought and that's a memory.
Mm.
It was an interesting meditation practice.
Thanks, Vic. You know, you prompted my memory that when I was little, we had the Iceman come to our house. He would carry in, he had these tongs, and he'd have a block of ice. I don't know what it would be, 25 pounds or 50 pounds or something. And he would bring 2 of those big blocks of ice in the house, and we had our ice, our ice box. Yeah. Times change, don't they? Thanks, Vic. It's quite cool having your head against that picture. All right, coming back. Gallery. There. Anybody else? Hey, Jim, do you remember the ice? Did you have an ice truck, Iceman?
No. My parents told me stories about having a ice box. I asked them, why do some people call it a refrigerator and some call it an ice box?
Ah.
They explained that, people came with ice and put it in. But then they said that their first refrigerator, they couldn't afford to just buy it outright. And so they got it with some sort of contraption where you put a quarter in and the motor would run for 24 hours. And then at a certain point when you had paid for it, they come out and take it was like a governor on the motor. and you had to put money in to keep it going. It was an amazing story.
Yeah.
Morning, Robert. It's Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Where am I?
There you are.
I was going to just share a quick story that was triggered by Tim and Janet's talking about the book. We had sent a copy of your book to each of our sons who are on the East Coast, and I think I've shared this before with this group, but that we agreed we'd share them the book, but not follow up with it, not try and say, hey, you should read this or anything, but just throw it out there. And this weekend, we were talking with our oldest son who's in Columbus, and he and his girlfriend own a house in Pittsburgh, and she works in Columbus, so they're kind of back and forth. She had gone back to their house in Pittsburgh for the weekend and had noticed the copy of the book and pick it up and start reading it, and told our son, I'm bringing it back to Columbus for you because I think you need to read this. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for all of us who sent this book out to our children and said, oh my God, we could get him to actually read it. There may be hope. We haven't heard anything from him about whether he's cracked the cover yet, but maybe there's hope here. So just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. The first chapter was very strategically written as the hook. With that in mind, that if a person starts reading it, I mean, sensibly, but that's the intention of it.
Hi, Robert.
Hello.
It's Erin.
Hi, Erin.
Hi. How are you?
I'm really well this morning.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I had a question about if there's a few days, but you can't go anywhere. Do you know of anyone doing day-long or several day-long retreats? If you aren't in timing with one that you already know of, like, do you know of any that are already recorded?
Oh, I don't, but I know they exist. Um, yeah, I'm not sure how one would research that, but I'll bet you could. Um, you know, I'll ask Gary. He's plugged into that kind of stuff a lot. I am going to be doing a weekend retreat December 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, whatever that first Saturday, Sunday of December is. Hollyhock just agreed that we would do that, but that's a ways off.
Well, if you aren't doing anything next week,
I'll
you can have a date.
just throw everything off and cancel everything. Yeah. No, but look around. Look also at Spirit Rock, the Spirit Rock teachers. There might well be something happening there.
Thank you.
You know what else you could do? Just take a retreat. Listen to a Dharma talk or two each day and make your own solitude.
I'm missing the group.
I understand. Yeah.
It's hard to not have retreats on a regular basis.
Uh-huh. I agree.
Or yoga classes on a regular basis, or
You know, it's changed. Julie Goodmestad's group that's become now, they call it something else, Beth. Oh dear. But if you looked up Stuart Stark, he's my physical therapist and marvelous physical therapist. It was he who helped me get my leg functioning again after I pulled my quadriceps off my kneecap. He helped me with that rehab for months. But anyway, Stuart, I know, teaches every day. And that studio has everyday classes of Iyengar yoga, very well taught. So if you looked up Stuart Stark, that would get you into that doorway. And also Todd Jackson has a whole lot of yoga. I've been meaning to look at that myself. Hmm.
Hello, hello, Robert and Sangha. This is Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Yeah, I've been busy with. I had to do a road trip, so I missed a little bit of the Sangha.
Uh-huh.
But what I have to,
Ah,
I have a lot of gratitude this week, and I just wanted to share that with the Sangha. Is I finally, after 9 months, I finally have some work, a job. So it's been, the pandemic has been very difficult with finding actually work. So that has been it's a challenge, and I have lots of gratitude around actually finding some work now. So I just wanted to share that with the Sangha. So I feel very, very grateful and at kind of a little more at peace and not all this anxiety ridden. So thank you.
Mm. Yeah.
Good morning, Robert. I was just thinking when you were it's Eric.
What? I can't see who's talking.
It's Eric. I'm in the orange and white and blue background.
Oh, there you are. Okay. How funny.
Anyway, so again, I was just thinking this morning again about the water, and as Vic was talking, I suddenly had memories of my childhood. In my childhood, many times we didn't have water because we were poor and we didn't have the bills to pay. And I had always had such like kind of, I guess, internalized guilt or trauma about it, and I had always felt kind of bad about it. But thinking this morning when we were meditating and about it, my mind, and thinking when Vic talked about it, my mind suddenly shifted to remembering that our next door neighbor was extremely kind for 10 years, and she would let us fill up water buckets so we could use our toilets. She would have a hose run over to our house so we had drinking water, and in the winter she ran extension cords to our house for 10 years. For 10 years. And I never even really thought about it. And now I just like almost want to be teary on that. That's so kind to just like see your neighbor and know that they have children, and for 10 years to give them power and water. And she made it so that, I mean, yeah, maybe I had to bathe in cold water, but I went to school clean. And I don't know, I just was moved by the kindness, and I just wanted to say it to us, to basically to remember to be kind and to help people, you know, because even the children of poor drug addicts are still children, and they deserve to be helped too, you know. It's I don't know, it's weird that it went from something that seemed really traumatic to something that seemed really beautiful, so I actually really appreciate that. So.
Thanks. Thank you, Eric. Well, that reframing is really beautiful, isn't it? To make it into something of gratitude. It's a beautiful, nourishing silence. Rich. Full of possibility.
Hi, Robert.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, you ready? Hi, Sangha. It's hard to follow up Eric's story, but I wanted to say that it made me think about, I've had two things happen in our neighborhood. It just highlight how random it is that we, in our kind of isolated lives, you know, intersect with neighbors and find their stories. And so one day after another, I found out that a neighbor 2 doors down had been dealing with a husband dying of bone cancer for 2 years, and he just passed away 3 or 4 months ago. And I had no idea. I mean, no one had any idea this was going on. And I felt really bad because I hadn't introduced myself to her, hadn't met her. So anyway, I brought flowers and a card, and I went for a walk with her last week, and I hooked her up with a community list, and now she's getting hooked up with some other folks in the neighborhood. But it's so random. Like I walked out to look at birds in her tree, and she happened to walk out to go to work, and I talked to her and heard what was going on. And the next day, a guy came knocking at my door, an older gentleman came knocking at the door. We had this crazy interaction where he just said, "Is Highland Kugel here?" And I said, "Come again?" "No, Highland Kugel." No, I've been here 17 years, she's not here. And he gives me this little, he's COVID, not aware, doesn't have a mask, and he's very close, but he gives me a little fit, like elbow bump, and I said, "Been here for 17 years, he's like, 44. And then he just walks away. Anyway, he knocked. I just sat at the door, like, what do I do? And I watch him, and he's going down the street, he's knocking on every door. So, came back out again, I tried to talk to him. I told him I had a memory. I figured out who he was, and I knew that his granddaughter used to live with him and moved out. And my husband was like, go tell him that. So I did, but he still kept knocking on doors. Anyway, I wrote to the community list, and we started trying to find out what's going on with him. And eventually we got news from neighbors that they're in touch with his granddaughter, and they got in touch with his daughter, and they're very happy that people are watching out for him. But it's just, I don't know, it's just random. Like, this guy's living alone in his house, and this woman's raising her 3-year-old alone, and it just, I don't know. We need each other, and it's nice when you can help, but it makes me worry about what we don't know.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy. That touches in me I've had the concern, and I know we've talked about it with the board and the other teachers. There are some people with whom I have more or long-term relationship in the community that I notice after a little while that they're not around. But there are others who are more, maybe some people, there's some folks on here that I've never spoken with. And we have such a capacity of caring and connection, and yet people can come and go. I don't know of anybody in our extended PIMC community who has died of COVID, but I'm sure there are some people. But somehow we don't have the feedback loop. And we've tried different things over the years, and we've done wonderful service for some people over the years. We meals for on several occasions. Oh, and I was so taken care of with my brain surgery a year ago. I mean, it was actually overwhelming, and it was almost unbearable how much caring came toward me. How could I let that in? It would completely destroy my "nobody loves me" neurotic beliefs. But anyway, I appreciate, and I would put it out there. If you get sick or need help in some way, please use this community. And Alicia was prescient and said, this tent is not going to work in the winter. And she was right. And here, look at this. Amazing. Well, anyone else have something you'd like to share before we go our merry way? Let's go out today with Yafata. Ya Fatah, in Islam, one of the 101 beautiful names of God. And it means, may the path of your heart open before you. Kind of nice. And we're all pointed in different directions. So when we do Ya Fatah, in fact, we cover the entire world. May all beings, may the path of their heart open before them. And we'll do it 6 times. Feel the love in your heart and the intention for all beings. And yes, let's do that. We'll do it. And it's not I always think of this. This is not a wimpy Buddhist chant. It's not one of those. It's got as much oomph as you're willing to put into it, and your house will tolerate. So it goes like this. You ready? 1. Oh, and why don't you unmute? 1, 2, 3. Ya Fatah! Ya Fatah! Ya Fatah! 3 more. Ya Fatah! Ya Fatah! Ya Fatah! That'll wake him up in the other room. Goodbye, dear friends.
Love you all so much.
Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye, dear friends on Facebook.